Hello everybody. I was playing around with these coin beads that I purchased at Hobby Lobby last week. They're 14 millimeter, and I decided to make a solitaire ring. Bezel it. I bezeled the stone and put a band on and made these cute little, I don't know, diamond solitaire rings, sort of looking rings. And I thought they were just adorable. And I made a couple for my granddaughters here. That's why they're so small. And one for myself. You can kind of, they're flat on top with a little bit of rainbow, but along the sides are faceted. So it catches a little flash, flash of light. And I thought they were adorable, and so I'm going to show you how to make them. Alright, so you're going to need a 14 millimeter coin bead. If you know how to figure out how many beads you're going to need, I guess you could do it with any millimeter, a stone or a bead. Okay, and so we're going to need some 15 seed beads. I got them in galvanized aluminum, and some 11 millimeter Delicas. And this is like an emerald rainbow green. I'm not sure exactly what color that is. I got a size 10 beading needle and about a wingspan, maybe 2 arm spans, something like that, a fireline. And I'm going to put on a stop bead. I'm going to bring it down, leave about a 6-inch tail, 5 or 6, but just enough to sew in and secure the end. So there's the materials. Come back and we'll get started. Okay. I had to switch my Delicas, because the emerald green was quite transparent and you couldn't see them very well. So now I've got these fuchsia colored Delicas. They're metallic. And so I put on 32 Delicas. And so I'm going to bring them down to the stop bead and count and make sure you've got the right amount. There's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32. And remember, because we're going to peyote this, there has to be an even number of beads. So we're going to sew this into a circle by coming up through the last bead, but that's by your stop bead. And I caught a few more because we're going to go around and reinforce anyway. So we want to reinforce our circle by just coming around. Sewing around the whole circle again, taking care not to miss a bead. We don't want to bunch it up or a thread to be showing. That's what happens when you miss a bead. It's quite obvious. And then I'm just going to sew a few past the stop bead to make it nice and secure. Okay, so what I always kind of take my thumb and middle finger, and I don't want the beads all bunched up. I want them to be straight like that, not too tight, but not too loose. All right, and now we're just going to pick up one Delica. We're coming out of this Delica. We're going to skip a Delica and sew through the next Delica. And that lays that bead right up alongside the one that we skipped. And it puts it in like a T formation. I don't know why it won't pop up there though. There we go. Like that. Okay, now let's pick up another Delica. The one you're coming out of is there. We're going to skip one and then sew through the next. Pick up a Delica. Coming out here, I'm going to skip a Delica and sew through the next Delica. One more time together. Pick up a Delica. We're coming out of this Delica. We're going to skip one and sew up through the next Delica. So continue to go around the whole circle, and I'll come back, step up with you, and we'll start the next round. Okay. We've come all the way around. We've got one more bead to put on. So I picked up a Delica. Coming out of this Delica, I'm going to skip one. Skip one, go up through the next Delica, and the one right above it. See? And that's our next row. That starts our next row. See, we came through this Delica to put this one on, and there was the one right, the next row over. The one on top is the one we come up through. And then for this row, all we're going to do is pick up a Delica and come through that next sticking out Delica. Pick up a Delica. There's two Delicas and then one Delica. 2, 1, 2, 1. Well, we're going to skip the one and go through the one on top of the two Delicas. Pick up a Delica, go through that next sticking out Delica. Pick up a Delica, go through that next Delica that's sticking out. We're filling in the gaps here. Pick up a Delica, go through the next Delica. Let's go all the way around, come back, we'll step up and start the next row. Okay, your piece should be starting to kind of cup now. probably from, you pulling, put your finger there and pulling every time you add a Delica. So pick up a Delica. We're going to do the last bead and then step up together. So coming out this Delica, we're going to jump over, not to the one clear at the top. That's the next row, but make sure you go through the right one. Here, this Delica, and the one that's right above it. All right, and now we're ready for the next row. I just want to show you, we're going to lay our stone on. And so we need to put on quite a few rows, as you can see, to come up and around that stone to capture that stone. So I apologize for my voice, it's scratchy a lot. That's a symptom, or that's I guess a symptom of I've got what's called Chiari-2 malformation, and my brainstem slides down the hole in where my spinal cord is, and so it puts pressure on. I'm guessing that it puts pressure on vocal cord nerves, something like that. So I just wanted to disclose that little bit of information, and there's really nothing I can do about it. So I hope my voice isn't too bothersome. Okay, let's pick up a Delica and go through the next sticking out Delica. We're just going to do the same thing for this row as we did the last row, and that is pick up a Delica and go through the next sticking up Delica all the way around, and then come back. We'll step up together and start the next row. Okay, here we are, and I was just trying out my stone there. We've picked up a Delica. We need to add one more Delica. So we're coming out of that Delica. We're going to skip that Delica. And we're going to come up through this next Delica. And the one right above it. Okay, and then we're going to pull and pop our stone in, try to get it to mold to our stone. I think we're going to need at least one more row. So let's pick up a Delica, and we're doing the same exact thing. We're going to jump over through that next sticking up Delica. Pick up a Delica. Jump up into that next sticking out Delica. Alright, so go around, come back, and we'll do the next row. Okay, I got my stone in here now, and like pulling on the thread, not real hard because we don't want to break our thread, but just so the vessel can start molding around the stone. And so we're coming out this is our last Delica for this row. Coming out of one, jump over into the next Delica and the one that's right above it, diagonally above it. Alright, and I think we need one more row. So do one more row and come back, and then we will do the 15 O's, and then we'll put the band on. Okay, here we are, and our stone is in our bezel, and it's covering the sides pretty well. And now we're ready for to do the face of the stone using the 15-0s. So we're just basically doing the exact same thing except with different beads. So we're going to jump up into the next Delica and put a 15 in between those first two Delicas. And then we're going to jump over into the next Delica, sticking up Delica, that is. Make sure you just get the one and put that Delica on. That's going to start cinching those beads down onto that stone. It's going to make them hug the stone. Jump over to the next sticking up Delica and pull. And kind of pull your thread in like this to tighten those beads down. Pick up a Delica or a 15-0 and go through that next sticking up Delica and tuck it into place. Alright, so go around and come back and we'll step up together, and after this row we'll have one more row of 15s. Okay, we're coming around. This is our last 15 we're putting on. And so we're coming out of the one sticking up Delica. We're going to jump into the next sticking up Delica and that 15-0 that's right beside of it. And pull. And you could stop here. Your stone's pretty secure. And there's there's like a striped look on the front. Or you can go around and put on another row of 15-0s, which is what I've done. See here, it'll be more silver on the front. So I'm just going to pick up a 15-0. I'm going to jump over into that next 15-0. Seed bead, pick up a 15-0, jump over into that next 15-0. And the beads will be closer together, so it'll be a little harder to get through. Wow, this one's really close. Alright, so just go around, adding 15-0s in between that row of 15-0s. And come back, and we'll work our way back to the band to put the band on. Okay. We have come through and put on our last 15-0 and stepped up into that next row. Okay, now we're going to work our way down to the back. So we're coming out of this 15-0, and I'm just going to reverse directions up into that Delica right beside of it. And that's how we're going to kind of work our way. And if your bezel is loose, you can work your way all around it, and that'll tighten it up. Okay, and then we're going to jump. We're in this Delica. We're going to reverse directions again up into the next Delica, and then we're going to come down into this last Delica. Let's see where we at. Coming out of that Delica. So we're going to jump up into this Delica. Now we're on to the back side. Alright. And we're going to peyote a band. Okay, so you can just start anywhere, but make sure you're coming out of one of the up Delicas, the ones that are sticking up. And just, if you want to use the same color, you can mix it up and put, you know, different colors, but I'm going to keep mine the same. So when we're looking at this back here, we've got, just like we had on the front, a sticking up Delica, one that's down, one that's sticking up, one that's down, one that's sticking up. We're working on just sticking up Delicas again. And so we're just going to, we're coming out of this Delica, we're going to pick up a Delica and jump through that next sticking out Delica. I'm going to pick up a Delica. Coming out of this Delica, we're going to jump over into that next sticking out Delica. And we're going to pick up one Delica. And we're going to jump in that next sticking out Delica. Okay? And that's as wide as our band's going to be. So we're going to pick up a Delica. And the one we just put on, we're going to come back up through that Delica. And that was our turn. I'm going to pick up a Delica. I'm going to jump up through the next sticking out Delica. I'm going to pick up a Delica. We're going to come through that next sticking out Delica. And we're at the top. Alright, I'm going to pick up a Delica. Now we're going to turn and go back down through that Delica that we just added. And that was our turn to start going back the other direction. Pick up a Delica, go through the next sticking up Delica, pick up a Delica, go through the next sticking up Delica. So we're working out of 3 sticking up Delicas. We're going to turn and go up through that last Delica we just added. And that was our turn. Pick up a Delica, go through the next sticking up Delica, and pick up a Delica, and go through that next sticking up Delica. I'm going to pick up a Delica, turn, and go back down through that Delica that we just added. Pick up a Delica, go through the next sticking up Delica, and pick up a Delica, go through that next sticking up Delica. Now we're going to turn and go back in the other direction. Picking up a Delica. Make my threads cut. And we're going to go up through that Delica we just put on. Alright, and then we're going to pick up a Delica. Go up through that next sticking up Delica. Pick up a Delica. Go through that next sticking up Delica. I'll pick up a Delica. We're going to turn and go down through that Delica we just added. I feel like my thread got stuck. Maybe not. Alright, and then we're just going to keep doing that. And make your band the length you need it. You know, either use a mandrel or just measure it on your finger, or, you know, make it to the size you want it and come back and we'll attach the band to the other side. Okay, we're done with our length. There's our band. And now we're going to connect it. So I'm going to go through this, take my needle and put it in the center of my band on this side and try to go straight across. And let's see. There's the center. So I'm going to go over one to the sticking up bead on the side my string, my thread's coming out. Okay? And I'm going to connect those two beads. Make sure it stays straight. Let's see. There. You want to pull it up and connect it. Alright, so what we're going to do is just zip it up. I'm going to leave it apart a little bit so you can see. So I'm coming out this side. I'm going to go down through the next sticking up bead on my band side. And then I'm going to come on that and go through the next sticking out bead on my stone side. And I'm going to come over and jump through the next sticking out bead on the band side again. I think that's right. I missed one. I missed a bead on this side. I am going through the next sticking out bead, but I jumped and skipped one. Go through the next sticking out bead on the band side. Go through the next sticking up bead on the ring side, on the stone side. They're barely sticking up, so you have to really look. Now, the band side, go through that last sticking up bead, and then we'll come back through the bead that's right beside of it to attach the bottom on the stone side, and then we will jump over and backtrack and go through the beads that you went through on the way down. We'll go through there, and we'll go through here, and then come through this one. We're just going back and forth. We'll come through this one. Just one. And we'll come through. It's hard to get through some of these. They're close. We're just really reinforcing this join. I'm just going back and forth. You lose the band side and the ring side almost, but if you look close enough, you can tell. Then come up through the top on the band side. Go back down through the stone side, and then at that point, you can just, you don't have to hit the exact beads. Just come down through some on the diagonal. Just make sure you don't have any thread showing. Change directions a couple times. Let's see. And come down on the band. I think I came down one too many. And go back up through that one. And then I'll jump down through that first bead on the band and down through the next one. Okay, and I'm just gonna, this is where I'm gonna end it off. I'm gonna come back up through the one prior and back down through. So I just kind of, it's almost like a knot because you change directions a few times there. And then you want to snip off your thread, burn it if that's how you like to end it off. I do. I like to burn my thread. But there's our little chunky solitaire rings. There's that one and the pink one. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. These would be nice little gifts for Valentine's Day. If you got any little girls in your family, or bigger girls, we all love jewelry. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see, so you can get notified of my latest videos.